but the Carolina Panthers running back room is a big-time storyline, as is the health of Jonathan Brooks. Steve, when you take it first.
Yeah, Jonathan Brooks coming off the ACL tear, first running back taken in the draft. Very, very talented player coming out of Texas. I've been clicking on him. I like the upside. These guys, it seems like it's mostly a clean tear, right? It's not like an MCL. It's not a bunch of different ligaments. So we just saw Brees Hall. They managed him well with that. The Jets, I've talked about that, how the Jets brought in Dalvin Cook. They gave Cook some carries early on. They let Brees slowly incorporate, and then they finally let him go. So could be something similar with Brooks. We saw Miles Sanders last year be a huge bust. Chuba Hubbard was outperforming him. I don't mind if I'm taking Brooks. I'm going to take Chuba Hubbard maybe a little bit later. Maybe he starts like 3-4 weeks, 5 weeks. So that's kind of how I would approach it. I'm not worried about Miles Sanders at all. I just, he was just performed so badly last year. He's potentially could be cut and end up somewhere else as well. Yeah. So, I like Brooks' talent. I just think you may have to wait a little while before he performs. But when he gets in there, I mean, we saw what they did with Rachaad White last year in Tampa. Dave Canales coming over now to Carolina. So, I mean, Brooks could just eat up all those targets. So I like Brooks. I think you may have to be patient with him. But I like the talent, and I like going after him. I don't mind it.
Yeah, I mean, so there's 4 running backs in this room. To Steve's point, Miles Sanders might not even make this team. We've been talking about it for a while, but I do think my thought on it's changed slightly, right? So you have Jonathan Brooks, Miles Sanders, Chuba Hubbard, and then you have Jonathan Brooks. I'm sorry, and Rashad Penny, right? Rashad Penny comes over. He was a running back with Canales when Canales was in Seattle. So they do have familiarity there. The latest report is, look, Jonathan Brooks is placed on the NFI list, and so he's done. And he has to be activated before week 1, or else he's got to miss at least 4 games. So we'll see if that affects. But Chuba Hubbard is a nice guy to grab at his cost right now. And Chuba Hubbard, for what it's worth, Canales said was the MVP of spring. Now, again, coach speak for what it's worth, but I do think it says a lot when you're saying he was the best player. Not talking about usage or all these different things, but just the fact that he stood out is encouraging. And so it appears he's getting the most of the first team reps right now. Miles Sanders, some stuff on him. Sheena Quick of Fox Sports said that he's had a lot of explosive runs in camp. This is a new coaching staff. So, I mean, who really knows? He could make this team. I mean, this isn't the same regime of last year. I'm not drafting Miles Sanders, that's for sure. But it wouldn't surprise me if he eats into this workload if they don't think Chuba Hubbard can be a 3-down back with Brooks being injured. So, there's a lot to unpack with this room, but I think Chuba is at a nice value. And I'm still drafting Jonathan Brooks, but I'd be a little bit hesitant and hopefully hope that his ADP drops a little bit more with people coming around to the news. So,
Brooks on the placed on the NFI list, not the PUP, not IR, which is good news, but there's a chance that he could miss some early time. You bring up Hubbard. Hubbard was very inefficient last year. Miles Sanders wasn't a blip on the radar, and I believe they brought in Rashad Penny, right?
Yeah.
I
liked Rashad Penny last year. He just didn't get a chance. He never got a chance to do shit.
He might be the wild card in here where nobody's expecting it, and he could emerge on top of this depth chart. But like Jonathan Brooks in fantasy, he's the guy I'm going after because when healthy, he profiles as a do-it-all back. And he's obviously the future in this offense. It's a young offense. They just brought in Deontay, who's more of the veteran receiver here. But you look at Leggett, the quarterback, they're skill position players. They're young. They can grow and they develop. It's just a matter of when will we see Jonathan Brooks on the field? Because price point wise, he's not exactly cheap. And I think this is why we do these ADP mover shows and why they're valuable, because like the community will tell us what rumors they're buying into. So right now we just don't really have any information on Jonathan Brooks, but you can get him, despite the NFI list, he's up 5 points, 4 spots this month. He's going as a 77th overall player in the FFPC Fantasy Pros contest. So you're paying a price, but this could potentially cash in, because if he is indeed the RB1 on this team and he takes the stranglehold of this backfield, that's not going to be hard to do. Again, Chuba Hubbard, he had a couple nice fantasy games the past couple of years, very inefficient. He could potentially finish as a top 24 running back.
So, I mean, and one thing here, Ronaldo, yeah, that you are true. Miles Sanders, I mean, Chuba definitely took that backfield over, but it is a new coaching staff. And Anthony Canales was the coach for Rashad Penny. So there is some familiarity there.
Yep.
Jonathan Brooks in 4-for-4 ADP for the FFPC. Running backs that go around him. DeAndre Swift is the first running back ahead of him. Najee Harris is the first running back behind him. Raheem Mostert, Zach Moss, Jaylen Warren. I would say I prefer Jonathan Brooks over every guy on that list except Najee Harris. I don't know how you guys feel, but I prefer Najee over Jonathan, but I don't want anything to do with DeAndre Swift, Zach Moss.
I would say probably Connor too.
Okay.
Well, Connor's going in the 7th round too, right around that spot. So I would say Connor, and I agree, Najee Harris as well.
One more thing on this backfield, I believe they can release Miles Sanders, and they'll save some cap money over the next 2 years.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. There wasn't a lot of guaranteed money on his deal when he signed, which is that's kind of how I felt with the DeAndre Swift signing, which is funny because they both come over from the Eagles and they cash in after being behind that offensive line. But I mean, the money talks. Nothing matters but the guaranteed money. So
I don't think Sanders
I'm looking at it now, and if they were to,
I was going to say,
I'm sorry, hold on. If they were to,
go ahead, finish.
Go ahead. No. Well, okay. So dead cap hit of 2.9 million if they cut him, but they save I think 13 million total, and he's So I mean, it makes a lot of sense to cut him, to be honest.
Yeah, you can't get beat out by Chuba Hubbard, and I don't know what the hell happened. I just think he was just maybe unhappy. He got shipped out of Philly, ends up in Carolina, a dirt shit team, and I just think Chuba just outproduced him. That was it. I mean, it's his. I don't know maybe he ends up in San Diego or something like that.